Okay, welcome back again, family. I am Jonathan,
I am Galen.
and hey, we'd like to thank you for visiting us again on this Sunday evening. Today, we wanted to talk about just five that are crazy but true when dealing with the Filipino culture. And so, how do you want to start? Do you want me to go first? Okay, I'll go first. Um, One of the craziest things that, when you're dealing with it in the culture in the Philippines, you know, about on average every 10 years, now they basically redesign their money. Just like we do here in America, you see a new 20, new 10, new $100 bill. Those Benjamins, they're redesigned. But in the Philippines, when they redesign their money, unlike in America where we keep the old money in circulation, all of their old money and old designs has to be turned back in to the government. Now, the last time this took place was 2016, 2017. It was a little stretch of over a year because you have to imagine trying to turn in, trying to exchange all of your currency over to the new currency. Like I said, in America, you get to keep the old currency out there in circulation. In the Philippines, no, there's a cutoff date to where you turn in that old currency, and if you don't, it would be worth basically nothing. You can't use it at the stores anymore, and just that whole 9 yards. So I thought that was kind of crazy that they had a deadline to turn it in, or just from my understanding, is right. It becomes you can't use it after that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't use it. You can go to your nearest bank that allow you to exchange that old money to the new money.
Yes, but you have to do it before the deadlines, or the stores will stop accepting the old money. Go ahead, baby Cole. What's something that's a little crazy about the Philippines that people may not know when dealing with culture?
Like we have a Filipino time, like one time. Filipino always they always said Filipino is late. Cause
Uh-huh.
when it has a party, the time should be like you have to have to gather like 1 o'clock, but most of us, I can, me rather, so me also, I go there like 2 o'clock. I'm not really on a 1 o'clock time because I was like, I'm not really an important guest, so why should I be there early? So something like that. Or sometimes I was like, oh, there's no cab. There is no cab, and then that's why I'm late. Or sometimes,
But generally, folks are just Filipinos don't show up on
we
time.
don't show up on time.
Right. Yeah, like in
Like we have like, okay, grand entrance in.
Yeah, see that's like in
If we're
America.
late.
She talking about we call that black folks time here in America. You go to a party, a barbecue, an event. We want to make that grand entrance. So if it start at 1 o'clock, we gonna show up at 1:15, 1:30, so everybody else will be there and can see us.
There's
when we
always
walk
an
in.
excuse.
Yeah, always an excuse about why you were late. Yeah. Like you couldn't get a taxi. You couldn't.
No, we don't have taxi in the province.
You couldn't get there on time.
There's no jeep. There is no driver.
Yeah. So
You
it's,
don't have money to get there then.
yeah. So it's something actually called Filipino time. I read about that and I was like, what is that? But I'm glad you explained it because I did see that. Okay, so Filipino time. Let's see. Here's another one that a lot of people may not know. And now I don't know if it's all over the Philippines, but if somebody's murdered, the person that was murdered, they take a baby chicken and put it on top of the casket. Now, sometimes they will put rice on the casket so the baby chicken is pecking at the casket. And what this is supposed to do is the chicken, the little baby chicken, you know, is picking at the conscience of the person, of the murderer, the person who committed the crime, and it's picking at the conscience at that person, and eventually that person would either turn himself in or herself in, or that person will be caught. Now, I just thought that was weird. That, you know, that to me that sounded like some of that
like a voodoo stuff.
Louisiana Bayou. That's right. You would you say voodoo? Sound like that old Louisiana Bayou type stuff going on, putting the chicken on a coffin now. You know, hey, but
that's a Filipino voodoo style.
The Filipino voodoo style. Hey, but I'm telling you, there's so much dealing with burial in the Philippines. I'm telling you, we're gonna have to do a whole entire separate show on that, because there's a lot of things. I thought black folks had superstitions when it came to death, like opening up the window and all of that stuff. Philippines have a lot. You ever been to a funeral that they put a chicken on the casket?
No. But I've seen a lot on TV.
See a lot. Oh well.
Documentaries, like you know.
You never been to one to a
I've never been
funeral, because you would have to go to a funeral that someone who has been murdered in order to see the chicken put on the casket, right? Okay.
I'm not fan of doing some funerals, you know.
Yeah.
I remember before my grandma died. They didn't even know that. But my dad, my family knows that I'm so scared of looking at the body. Even though it's my grandma, but I'm scared. I can't sleep at night.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like to go to funerals.
My dad said before, I remember that he said, if you look at the person that died, and then if you close and open your eyes while watching it, our eyes is just like a camera that recording all those pictures. So when you go to sleep, you will remember it. If you were like that scary thing. So that's what I'm not really fan of attending some funerals.
Yeah, I don't.
Or maybe if I go attend it,
yeah,
I don't look at the coffin.
Yeah, I don't mess with funerals that much either. You know, so but you know, I was on pallbearer detail when I was in the Army, primarily because of my height, and you know, I had to go to some funerals while I was in the military, so I too much don't deal with them now. But like I said, we're gonna have to do a whole separate video on the superstitions and beliefs at funerals in the Philippines, because like I thought we had some, meaning black folks. Ooh, Philippines has a lot. Now, another thing that's out there that a lot of people may not know about the Filipino culture, what is it?
We eat with our hands. We use our hands when we eat, especially when we eat rice. When we eat some dried fish, what is this? Fried fish or fried meat. And then we use also, the only thing that we have most of the time is just the spoon to use for the soup, to drink the soup. Or sometimes we cut the meat if we couldn't use it, we couldn't cut it by our hands, so we use the spoon to cut the meat or anything that is
so you even
hard.
You even eat rice with your hands. You saying you even take the rice, kind of ball it up and eat the rice with your hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was in the Philippines, I saw a lot of people doing that. You know, kind of like
it's good to use by your hand when you're eating.
In America here, we're taught to use a fork, you know, and kind of a knife. But I've been to a lot of countries where they use their hand. Now, we primarily, when we eat hamburgers, stuff like that, with our hands. But like you said, they use their hand to eat rice with, and kind of bring food together. I know when I've been in other places, and I think even in India, when they eat a lot of their dishes, they'll take the naan bread and use that to scoop up a lot of stuff and eat with their hands. So is it kind of like that?
We form the rice. Sometimes we form it by circle like this.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Then we
Yeah. Okay. See, that's great. So if you go to the Philippines, you see Filipinos eat with their hands, eating rice or something with their hands, or like when my wife go to her.
Don't worry. Before we eat, we always wash our hands. It's always clean.
Yeah. So.
It's not that filthy.
Yeah.
It's not filthy when we eat our food.
Hygiene. That's right. Hygiene. And some food I think just tastes better when you don't use a knife or a fork or spoon. I don't know, like metal. I know there's some foods I like eating with chopsticks, and I don't want to use a fork to pick it up because I just don't want that metal in my mouth. Okay, now
It's like if you were in the province. If you were from province, it's just like me. If you eat, we meet some people that from the not from the province, from Manila or somewhere, that they normally use pork, spoon, and some knife that cut their food. We thought about that like it's a fancy one. It's like you're in a high class because you were using that. So
yeah, I even seen Filipinos though taking a piece of meat and they may use their hand and use one finger to kind of separate the meat apart and then get a piece of meat. When in America, if we took a piece of meat to separate it, we'll use maybe a fork and a knife. But like I said, there's a lot of countries.
our knife is the spoon itself.
Oh, your knife is the spoon. Yes, yeah. I'm actually learning how to eat fish that's with the bone just by using the spoon, to eat the fish with. So yes, and she did teach me. She's actually teaching me.
Because before, when he eat fish, he would just like a lot of meat on the side of the fish. I said, you can still eat those, just like grab it like this. Because normally he would just cut it and just eat the big chunk, the fish. And then next to that big the bones, there's still meat in it. So I said, grab it like this. Use the spoon like this. So now he was
because when you're at a restaurant, you don't want to be sitting at a restaurant and you're eating fish and you're just sitting there getting the bones off the fish and your hands getting all sticky. But
I don't care.
That's why you said you don't care. I know.
If I'm hungry and I have to eat, I don't care.
Yeah.
They're not the one that's paying my food.
Yeah. Now, here's another thing about just a little weird fact about the Philippines. In World War II, Japan actually took over control of the Philippines from like 1941 to I believe 1945. And when they did that, they put some laws in place. They had a strict curfew, which that takes place in a lot of areas with war. But they also introduced the Philippines to the Japanese currency. And when they did the currency, they implemented it in there, and that's what had to be used at that time. Now, the Philippines have what's called barangays. That's like that's like a neighborhood,
like
right?
A small, it's like a neighborhood.
Okay, yeah, like a neighborhood. And what they did was they took their neighborhoods, kind of like the neighborhood you live in. Instead of having that whole neighborhood, they took the neighborhood, cut it in half, and basically put military government in place, which that's what happens during war. But to try to implement money into your economy, their money into your economy so fast, that's not something that's usually taking place. But when the United States went back in there in 1945, and of course
trying to get the Philippines away from Japan.
Right, and you got the Philippines away from Japan.
So they're the next colonizer.
Yeah, and then they turned the Philippines back over to the Philippine people. Japanese went out, but that the currency from Japan, the culture from Japan, a lot of that didn't have long-lasting effect because it was only about a 4-year span. But it's just kind of weird that Japan went in there that fast and tried to take over and change the Filipino culture to be theirs and to implement their money and to get rid of the Filipino money. So Filipino money deals in pesos, right? Right, pesos.
Philippine peso.
Philippine pesos. Yep.
It's not a Mexican peso.
Right, it's not Mexican. It's not Mexican pesos. Now we did another video that was on some of the basic cultures, understanding the beliefs and cultures of the Philippines. If you haven't seen that video, check that video out. It's a good video, short video, only about 10 minutes long, but it teaches you something about the more cultural aspects of respect when you're meeting the elder in the Philippines and different things of that nature. Baby Cole, is anything you want to add to this video?
None.
Okay, well, we thank you for sharing. Please hit that subscribe button. We have many more videos, and once again, it's going to take a few videos to talk about some of the superstitions in the Philippines dealing with burial. But if you would, go ahead and have a great day, and make sure you come back and see us again. I am Jonathan.
I'm Galen.
And we'd like to say thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.